Hi guys, Dr. Julie Lockman here. Today we're going to talk about cease therapy, homeopathy, and what does it mean on the bottles when you get the bottles in the mail or at your supermarket. So today we're going to talk about what the homeopathy means to start, and then isotherapy, and then we're going to make a remedy right here. You can do it in your own kitchen. So homeopathy, as we discussed before, means like cures like. Homo means similar. So for example, if you burn your hand on a hot stove, you actually want to put it under warm water, not cold water like I always thought. And that's homeopathic because it's similar to what originally injured you. So with homeopathy, we can give something for example, somebody who has a certain condition, if it looks like they've been poisoned by eating too much of a plant. Like chamomile tea, if you have too much, it can cause diarrhea. So we use chamomile for diarrhea. It's common for teething babies to have diarrhea, so chamomile is actually a common remedy for teething. And chamomile can be used either as a tea or as a pellet. Either way, it's homeopathic. Homeopathic doesn't mean it's in a pellet. It just means it's similar. So with cease therapy, we use things that are isopathic. Isopathic means that the thing that you're taking actually is a very small amount of the thing that initially may have harmed you. So for example, if you have diarrhea and you know you drank too much chamomile tea, you could actually drink a small amount of chamomile tea to rectify the problem. And that would be isotherapy because we actually know what caused the problem in the first place. And with cease therapy, we go back through someone's history to see if there was a chemical or something that was used that the person didn't react to well, or that may have accumulated in their system, or that they have had symptoms ever since they took that exogenous item, so something from the outside. So let's talk about coffee today. Now, in homeopathy, we have something called a prefung, which is like a test. And back in the late 1700s, Samuel Hahnemann and all his medical friends would sit around and poison each other with plants that they had, and somebody would follow them around with a little clipboard and write down every single thing that happened. And when you accumulate, 10, 20, 50, hundreds of people who've taken that substance and had symptoms, you tend to find common things that happen. And so we do prefung all the time here in America with coffee. So if you've ever had too much coffee, you know that you can't fall asleep, your heart might be racing, you might feel anxious. So those are the symptoms of a coffee overdose. And many people have experienced that, or even tea, too much caffeine, too much chocolate, if there is such a thing, but it has caffeine and can keep you up as well. So if we want to treat someone who feels anxious and who can't sleep and has a racing heart, we can actually use coffea cruda, which is a homeopathic remedy, and you'll see in a bottle just like this. It'll say coffea cruda. I probably have one in the other room. Used for exactly those things. But you don't have to take it in a pellet. Remember, that just means it's been diluted and put in a bottle for convenience. You can actually make it at home. So let me show you how to do that. The first thing is you could just take some coffee, and you're like, oh my gosh, don't take coffee because it's going to keep you up. Hold on, it's okay. Just take a teaspoonful. How much caffeine's in a teaspoon? Like a milligram. It's not going to keep you up. So you could just take a spoonful of coffee, and that would be fine. It might help you sleep. The other thing you could do is dilute it. So when you dilute it, we're actually lowering the caffeine content because that's not what we need. We just need a tiny bit of the original substance, or even more dilute so that there's not any of the original substance there. You're like, how does that work? How does your cell phone work if there's no landline? It just works. So let me show you how we do that. So when you get a homeopathic remedy, it'll say 30C, 6C, 6X, 3X. So let me show you that. This one is called Drosera. Drosera is a commonly used remedy for cough, as I'm like out of the screen here. So Drosera is used commonly for cough, and this is a 30C. So any guesses what C means in Roman numerals? I'll give you a second. How about X? X means 10, and C means 100. So this has been diluted 30 times 100 times. So let's practice diluting things. So let's say there's 100 drops of water in here. There's actually a lot more, but I wanted you to see it on the screen. So what I'm going to do is take 1 drop of coffee and put it in 100 drops of water. And let's pretend this is a spoon, and we'll just stir it up. So you can see it's a little bit brown, the water. So that would be 1 drop in 100 drops, which would be a 1C dilution. So say I take 1 drop of this, and I put it in 99 drops of water. Again, this is more than 99 drops. And we stir it up. Now that's called a 2C. There's actually some other things that happen between here, but just for simplicity, I want to show you the dilution. So say we take 1 drop of the 2C dilution and put it into 100 drops of water. What's that called? You guessed it, a 3C. So we'll stir that up a little bit. And so there are a couple milligrams, or a couple of molecules of coffee in this glass. However, if you continue this serial dilution many, many more times to get to 12C, there's statistically no molecule of coffee in that at that point. If by the time you get to 30C, there's really nothing there. And that's why if you take coffee cruda as a 30C, it's not going to keep you up at night because there's no caffeine in there. So say you can't fall asleep and you have some coffee around, just take a sip of it or put it in some water and take a sip of that. So that's how we dilute with a serial dilution. So if you see a 30C, it's been diluted 30 times 100 times. A 6C would be 6 times 100 times. Those are commonly sold in the grocery stores. If you see an X, that's diluted 10 times. So 6X is 1 drop in 10 drops of water, 1 drop in 10 drops of water, and so on. So that's how we make homeopathic dilutions, and we can go all the way up to 1 drop in thousands and thousands of drops. So you might get a bottle in the mail that is a glass bottle, like this one, for example, or you might get a plastic bottle. And when you get a plastic bottle, just to show you how to use these, twist the cap, and the pellet pops into the cap. You don't have to fight with it. It's very easy to dispense so they don't go over the floor. So you may see the back of a bottle. For example, this is a product from a company that I really like, and you can see these are X dilutions. They're 12X, 3X, 6X, so a variety of different dilutions based on what we need to have in this product. So just keeping in mind that those are all diluted. So when you look on the box, you'd be like, why do I need zinc? Well, zinc's a mineral, you need zinc. But we actually find if we dilute it, it works. It almost works better. For example, I had a kid who had low zinc levels, and we tested that. So I told his parents to buy zinc lozenges. Well, he bought the homeopathic ones. I think it's Cold Ease. It's homeopathic. You'll see it says zinc gluconate 6X, and it's diluted. So I'm thinking, well, there's not a whole lot of milligrams of zinc in there. I don't think it's going to help him. But anyway, he came back, and you know what? His zinc level was better. So for some reason, it just works, and it's just a really cool thing. So hopefully that'll help you understand how dilutions are made. Now, how does this work with cease therapy? When we have a substance that had originally been toxic to the person, coffee is not really toxic, but we could do this with anything. So if you have something that was initially toxic, the pharmacy will actually do this dilution for you. And then what they'll do is they'll either spray it onto a pellet. These pellets, the pharmacy will buy blank. So they're just little sugar pellets, and they're just made out of lactose. Non-dairy, don't worry, vegans, it's all non-dairy lactose. And so they'll somehow apply it to the pellet, they'll spray it on, they'll drop it on, and medicate the pellet. So when you order your cease therapy remedies, they're going to be very dilute, and they're going to be, generally we start at 30C, so there's actually no molecule of the original substance there. So that's why there's, I don't want to say nothing bad happens, there's no side effects. There may be some adverse reactions, healing reactions, and those are temporary, but there's no toxicity associated with it, and that's one of the reasons that it's so safe, especially for children. So I hope that answers some questions people have on cease therapy, and bottoms up.